"Security will escort you out," the new CEO said, not looking up from her iPad. She said it with the casual boredom of someone ordering a latte. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just stood there clutching a manila folder that weighed less than a pound, but carried enough explosive material to turn this entire corporate suite into a crater. My name is Michael Thompson. I'm 49 years old, and before I tell you how I took down the most dangerous CEO this company ever hired, you need to understand who I am and how I got here. For the past 20 years, I've been the Senior Director of Operational Compliance at Southwestern Logistics Corp., which is corporate speak for the guy who makes sure we don't accidentally ship hazardous materials to an elementary school or get our entire operation shut down by federal regulators. We're a multinational logistics company that moves everything from medical supplies to automotive parts across borders without raising red flags with Homeland Security. But before I became the company's watchdog, I spent 8 years in the Navy learning that attention to detail keeps people alive. I was a logistics specialist stationed on the USS Roosevelt, responsible for coordinating supply chains that kept 5,000 sailors fed, armed, and operational in the middle of the Pacific. When you're managing ammunition shipments and fuel transfers on a nuclear aircraft carrier, there's no room for shortcuts or sloppy paperwork. One miscalculation, one overlooked safety protocol, and people die. I still remember the incident that taught me everything about the cost of cutting corners. We were loading supplies in rough seas when a junior officer decided to skip the standard weight distribution check to save time. The crane operator didn't know the load was unbalanced. When that pallet shifted, it nearly took out 3 sailors and could have punctured the fuel deck. I was the one who caught the error, stopped the operation, and spent 6 hours recalculating the load distribution properly. That's when I learned that being the guy who says, "Stop, we need to do this right," isn't popular, but it's necessary. The Navy taught me that real leadership means protecting your people even when it's inconvenient for the brass upstairs. When I left the service at 29, I brought that mindset to Southwestern Logistics. I started as a junior compliance analyst and worked my way up over 2 decades. The founder, Andrew Wilson, hired me specifically because of my military background. He wanted someone who understood that logistics isn't just about moving boxes from point A to point B. It's about moving them safely, legally, and with full accountability for what's inside those boxes. Wilson was old-school Texas business. He wore the same gray suits for 30 years and believed that a clean safety record was worth more than flashy marketing campaigns. He understood that in logistics, boring is beautiful. Boring means drivers come home safe, packages arrive intact, and federal investigators never show up at your door asking uncomfortable questions about your shipping manifests. Under Wilson's leadership, we built something solid. Our driver retention rate was the highest in the industry because we maintained our equipment properly and didn't cut corners on safety training. Our insurance premiums were low because we had fewer accidents. Our government contracts kept growing because regulatory agencies trusted us to handle sensitive cargo correctly. Wilson respected experience. Over my 20 years here, he watched me grow from a junior analyst to his most trusted compliance officer. He respected the rules. He respected me. When other executives complained that compliance was slowing down operations, Wilson would remind them about the warehouse collapse in 2016 that killed 2 workers at a competitor company. "That's what happens when you move too fast," he'd say. "Michael's job is to make sure that never happens here." Then Wilson died of a heart attack at 67, right there in his office on a Tuesday morning. The man who'd built this company from a single truck route to a $200 million operation was gone, and suddenly, everything I'd helped build was vulnerable. The vacuum Wilson left wasn't filled by his careful, experienced deputy. Instead, the board brought in their new golden child, Ashley Parker. Ashley was 36, had a shiny MBA from Wharton, and spoke exclusively in buzzwords like she was reading from a consultant's handbook. Her previous experience was running a failed green tech startup that had burned through $12 million in venture capital before collapsing. She didn't care about supply chains, driver safety, or regulatory compliance. She cared about disrupting the logistics space and leveraging synergistic opportunities. She walked into our Houston headquarters on day 1 wearing expensive heels that clicked against the marble floor like a countdown timer, followed by a parade of consultants who looked like they'd been assembled in a factory that specialized in hair gel and overconfidence. The change was immediate and brutal. It wasn't just new leadership. It was cultural demolition. The muted efficiency of our operation got replaced by the manic energy of brainstorming sessions that produced nothing but meaningless whiteboard diagrams filled with arrows and acronyms nobody could remember. I watched it all from my corner office on the 14th floor. To someone like Ashley, I was invisible. I was legacy staff. I was furniture from the Wilson era, probably clinging to outdated procedures and a pension plan. She had no idea that my silence wasn't submission, it was reconnaissance. See, in the Navy, you learn to watch and listen before you act. You learn that the loudest person in the room is usually compensating for something. Ashley was very, very loud. She held company-wide meetings where she talked about trimming operational fat and pivoting to a tech-forward identity. We're a shipping company, Ashley. We own trucks, warehouses, and distribution centers. We're not some app startup trying to reinvent pizza delivery. But she didn't want to hear that from someone like me. Ashley's first major move was to eliminate what she called bureaucratic bottlenecks. Translation, she wanted to bypass the safety checks and regulatory reviews that kept us out of federal prison. 3 months into her reign, the execution started. It wasn't dramatic at first, just quiet disappearances. The VP of Regional Operations gone on a Friday, email deactivated by Monday. The head of driver training retired unexpectedly to spend time with grandchildren he'd never mentioned before. Ashley was bringing in her own people. That's standard when new leadership takes over, but these new hires were wrong, dead wrong. I started noticing it in the vendor approval logs. My department is supposed to vet every new partner before we do business with them. We check for financial stability, regulatory compliance, insurance coverage, basic due diligence that keeps us out of federal court. Suddenly, approval requests were bypassing my desk entirely. The first red flag was a consulting firm called Synergy Solutions LLC based in Georgetown, Cayman Islands. They'd been approved for a $400,000 IT contract to upgrade our fleet tracking systems. When I tried to research them, they had no website, no DUNS number, no legitimate business presence. Their corporate address was a P.O. box at a mailboxes, etc. Then came Digital Transformation Partners, another Cayman company, another rubber-stamped approval, this time for $680,000 to optimize supply chain algorithms. I called the phone number listed on their invoice. It went to voicemail in what sounded like a teenager's bedroom. I went to Ashley's right-hand man, Christopher Wade, who wore expensive vests and never made eye contact when he talked to you. Christopher had followed Ashley from her failed startup and spoke the same buzzword language she did. "Christopher," I said, holding up printouts of both contracts, "these vendors for the tech upgrades. I can't find any legitimate business records for either company. Who verified their credentials?" Christopher laughed, a dry, dismissive sound like static. "Michael, you're overthinking this. We're moving fast now. We don't have time for bureaucratic red tape. Ashley approved these personally. Just file the paperwork. It's not red tape, Christopher. It's federal law. If these companies are shell operations and we're paying them with corporate funds, that's money laundering. The SEC will shut us down. We're pivoting," he said, turning back to his 3 monitors displaying charts that looked like abstract art. "Just file it, Michael. Or we can find someone who will." That was the first threat. Subtle but clear. Get on board or get out. Most people would have backed down. Most people would have polished up their resume and started looking for an exit strategy. But I'm not most people. That cold knot in my stomach wasn't fear. It was the feeling of spotting an enemy position through binoculars. I went back to my office and closed the blinds. I logged into my terminal and started doing what I do best, documentation. But I didn't just file their paperwork. I started building a case. See, they forgot something important about me. I wasn't just some paper-pushing bureaucrat afraid of change. I was the guy Wilson had personally chosen to be the company's conscience. And after the warehouse collapse in 2016 that killed 2 workers, Danny Martinez, a 22-year-old forklift operator, and his supervisor Pete Williams, a 15-year veteran, the board had given me special authorization to monitor executive decisions. That tragedy had shaken Wilson to his core. He'd flown to the families personally, paid for the funerals out of his own pocket. When he came back, he called me into his office with tears in his eyes. "Michael," he'd said, staring out at the Houston skyline. "We failed. I failed. We got too big and stopped watching." I need someone who isn't interested in being friends with the executives. Someone who cares more about protecting our people than protecting stock prices. That's when Project Iron Shield was born. The board authorized a classified initiative that gave me access to a special surveillance badge. To everyone else, my ID card looked standard. Same plastic, same magnetic stripe, same unflattering photo from 10 years ago that Ashley would later sneer at in the elevator. But hidden inside that plastic was a secondary RFID chip that did more than unlock doors. Every time I entered a secure area, boardrooms, executive suites, server rooms, that badge initiated a passive recording system. It captured audio from meetings, logged who was present, photographed documents displayed on screens, and created legally admissible records of everything discussed. Wilson and the board had essentially turned me into a walking federal wire. The device was built by the same defense contractor that made surveillance equipment for the CIA. Every conversation, every decision, every casual admission of wrongdoing got captured and uploaded to a secure server managed by an audit firm in Switzerland, a server that even the CEO couldn't access. Ashley had no idea. To her, my badge was just another piece of outdated corporate hardware that needed replacing. She had no clue that I was documenting her every move. Over the next 4 months, I attended every meeting I could justify being in. Strategy sessions where Christopher discussed shifting liability for accidents to our subcontractors, highly illegal under DOT regulations. Budget meetings where they cut driver training programs from 40 hours to 16 hours to fund Ashley's pet tech projects, criminally negligent given our safety requirements. The most damning evidence came from Ashley's private lunches in the executive dining room. I had legitimate reasons to be there, compliance briefings with the legal team, but my badge captured every word of her casual conversations. Looking at our driver roster is like looking at a casting call for a retirement home, she'd told Christopher over Caesar salads. Can we find a way to push out everyone over 50 without getting sued for age discrimination? Just cut their benefits packages, make them miserable. They'll quit. Another lunch conversation. Who cares if the trucks need new brake systems? If they crash, insurance pays out. It's actually better for our quarterly numbers if some of the old fleet gets totaled. We can write them off and lease newer vehicles. Every callous joke, every illegal suggestion, every admission that she viewed our drivers as disposable assets got recorded and time-stamped. The woman who preached about corporate responsibility in board meetings was privately treating human lives like line items on a spreadsheet. By month 4, I could feel the walls closing in. My system access started glitching. Random lockouts, password expirations, temporary suspensions for routine security updates that never seemed to end. They were trying to frustrate me into quitting so they wouldn't have to pay severance or deal with wrongful termination claims. The pressure campaign intensified when Ashley hired a new HR director, Jennifer Hayes, who looked like she was 12 and talked to everyone over 40 like they were confused elderly relatives. Jennifer showed up at my office one Tuesday morning without knocking. "Michael," she chirped, standing in my doorway with a tablet and an overly bright smile. "Super quick question. We're doing a security audit of all legacy access badges. The new biometric system is going live next week, and we need to collect the old RFID cards for, recycling." My heart did a slow, heavy thud. My badge. They wanted my badge. "My badge works fine, Jennifer," I said, not looking up from my screen. I was busy copying files to an encrypted external drive that the company didn't know about. "Oh, I know it works, but Ashley wants everyone on the new face scanning system. It's super modern. We're deactivating all the old magnetic stripe cards this Friday at 5 p.m. Company policy. Recycling." Right. They didn't want to recycle anything. They wanted to eliminate the evidence. They wanted to erase the history that little device had been quietly recording. "I'll bring it down later," I lied. "I have a federal compliance report due today." "Well, don't take too long," Jennifer said with fake cheerfulness. "After Friday, those old cards won't work anywhere in the building." After she left, trailing cheap perfume, I sat there staring at the badge clipped to my belt. To Jennifer, it was just outdated plastic. To me, it was the flight recorder of this corporate plane crash. That afternoon brought another vendor approval that made my blood run cold. Ashley had signed off on a $1.2 million contract with something called Logistics Optimization Dynamics, yet another Cayman Islands shell company. But this one was different. This one was for hazardous materials reclassification services. I knew exactly what that meant. They were paying someone to help them lie about what was inside our shipments. Reclassifying hazardous chemicals as general cargo meant lower insurance premiums, fewer safety inspections, and faster border crossings. It also meant that if something went wrong, if a truck carrying mislabeled industrial solvents crashed and caught fire, we'd be looking at federal murder charges. I tried one last time to reason with Christopher. I found him in the strategy room, surrounded by whiteboards covered in flowcharts that looked like the fever dreams of a business school dropout. "Christopher, we need to talk about this hazmat reclassification contract," I said, closing the door behind me. "This isn't just cutting corners. This is criminal fraud." He didn't look up from his laptop. "Michael, you're being dramatic. It's industry standard practice. Everyone does it. Everyone doesn't do it because everyone doesn't want to go to federal prison," I said. "If a driver gets killed because we lied about what he was carrying, Ashley won't just lose her job. She'll lose her freedom." That got his attention. Christopher finally looked at me, and for a moment I saw something like fear flicker behind his designer glasses. "Look," he said, lowering his voice. "Ashley knows what she's doing. She's got connections. People in regulatory agencies who understand that businesses need flexibility to compete globally. This reclassification thing, it's temporary, just until we can streamline our processes." "What connections?" I asked. Christopher realized he'd said too much. His face went pale. "I shouldn't have. Just file the paperwork, Michael, please. Ashley's already suspicious about your attitude. Don't make this harder than it has to be." That conversation told me everything I needed to know. Ashley wasn't just cutting corners, she was actively corrupting federal regulators. The rabbit hole went deeper than vendor fraud and safety violations. We were talking about systematic bribery of government officials. The calendar invite arrived the next morning. Leadership realignment discussion. Host, Ashley Parker. Attendees, Michael Thompson, Matthew Barnes, General Counsel. Location, Boardroom A. Time, 2:00 p.m. Friday. This was it. The execution. They were going to fire me right before the weekend when the building would be empty and there'd be no witnesses to the conversation. I spent Friday morning making final preparations. I uploaded backup copies of every piece of evidence to 3 separate secure servers. I sent encrypted emails to investigative journalists at the Wall Street Journal and Houston Chronicle with instructions to open sealed digital packages if I didn't check in by Monday morning. I wrote a detailed letter to the FBI's Corporate Fraud Division explaining the entire scheme. At 1:55 p.m., I walked down the hallway toward Boardroom A. The glass walls were frosted, but I could see silhouettes inside. Ashley was pacing like a caged predator. Matthew Barnes, our general counsel, sat perfectly still, staring at the table like he was praying for divine intervention. I swiped my badge on the reader one last time. The system logged my entry. User Michael Thompson. Time, 13:55:47. Status authorized. And hidden in the electronic handshake between my badge and the building's security system, the recording protocol activated. Session started. Chain of custody established. Federal audit mode active. I pushed the door open. The air in the boardroom was 10 degrees colder than the rest of the building. Ashley liked it that way, claimed it kept people sharp. I suspected she just enjoyed watching subordinates shiver. Ashley didn't look up when I entered. She was swiping furiously on her tablet, performing what she probably thought was executive multitasking but looked more like someone playing an angry game of digital solitaire. Matthew still wouldn't meet my eyes. He was studying the mahogany table grain like it contained the secrets of the universe. I didn't sit down. There was a chair pulled out for me, the one furthest from the head of the table, naturally, but I remained standing. I placed my manila folder on the table between us. The sound was soft, just paper meeting polished wood, but in the silence of that room, it echoed like a gunshot. Ashley finally stopped swiping. She looked at Matthew and nodded curtly. "Go ahead, Matthew," she said, her voice flat with boredom. She picked up a bottle of imported sparkling water and twisted off the cap. The fizz seemed unnaturally loud. Matthew cleared his throat, a sound like grinding gears. "Michael, thank you for coming in today. As you know, the company is undergoing significant transformation. We're moving toward a more agile, integrated model, and in reviewing operational redundancies, we've made the difficult decision to eliminate the standalone compliance function." "Eliminate compliance," I repeated slowly. "You're removing the brakes from a speeding truck." "We're integrating it," Ashley snapped, finally looking at me. Her eyes were cold, dead blue. We don't need a department of people saying no all day. We need enablers. We need forward-thinking team members. And frankly, Michael, your energy is historic. It's heavy. It doesn't fit our brand direction. My energy is historic. I tasted those words. Is that what we're calling adherence to federal transportation law now? Historic energy? This isn't a debate, Ashley said, waving her hand like she was swatting a fly. Your position is terminated effective immediately. We're offering 2 weeks severance in exchange for signing a standard NDA. If you don't sign, you get nothing, and we'll contest your unemployment claims on performance grounds. Performance issues? I said. I have 12 years of perfect reviews, Ashley. You failed to adapt, she said with that shark smile. You're obstructive. You're a bottleneck. You're done. She turned back to her iPad. The meeting was over in her mind. I was already deleted. Matthew has the paperwork, she said to the air. Sign it, leave your laptop, and security will escort you out. I have a strategy call in 5 minutes. Goodbye, Michael. The disrespect was breathtaking. She wanted me to feel like a confused, middle-aged man being put out to pasture because he couldn't figure out Slack. But I didn't feel confused. I felt like a demolition expert watching the timer tick down to 0. I reached for my belt and unclipped my badge. The plastic click echoed through the room. You're right, Ashley, I said calmly. Security should escort someone out, but not me. I didn't hand the badge to her. I slid it across the mahogany table toward Matthew. It spun slowly over the polished wood like a hockey puck and came to rest in front of his shaking hands. What is this? Ashley asked, annoyed. Matthew, I said, ignoring her. Look at the back of that badge. Read the serial number under the barcode. Matthew looked confused but picked up the badge. He flipped it over and adjusted his glasses. He read the tiny string of red numbers printed below the magnetic stripe. Exec Audit 0001 Alpha. His face went from pale to the color of old concrete. He dropped the badge like it was radioactive. Oh, he whispered. It was the sound of a man watching his career evaporate. Oh no. What? Ashley barked, standing up. What is it? Ma'am, Matthew said, his voice trembling. We need to delay your strategy call. We need to get legal counsel in here immediately. Why? Ashley demanded. I smiled. Because that badge isn't just an ID card, Ashley. It's a federal wire. The silence that followed was perfect. Ashley looked between me and Matthew, her irritation morphing into confusion. She hated being confused. Matthew, speak to me, she snapped. It's a piece of plastic. Throw it away and call security. Matthew didn't move. He stared at my badge like it was a live snake. Ashley, Matthew said, barely whispering. Do you know what Code Alpha means in our security protocols? I don't care about legacy protocols, she shouted. It means, Matthew continued, that this badge has board-level executive audit clearance. But more than that, it means it's a roving federal surveillance device. He looked at me with genuine terror. Michael, how long has this been active? Since the day Andrew Wilson died, I said calmly. The audit committee reactivated Project Iron Shield. They didn't trust the transition. They wanted oversight. I am the oversight. Ashley laughed, a shrill, nervous sound. You're lying. That's science fiction. You're a compliance officer, not James Bond. Check the metadata, Matthew, I instructed. Scan it. You have the reader right there. Matthew's hands shook as he plugged a USB scanner into his laptop. He swiped my badge. His screen filled with cascading green text. Entry logs, audio files, document captures. What is that? Ashley asked, walking around to look over his shoulder. Evidence, Matthew said, his voice dead. 4 months of recorded conversations. Jesus, Michael, look at these file sizes. Open the current session folder, I said. Matthew clicked. A window showed today's date, real-time recording status, and a list of active files. Termination meeting audio.wav, NDA coercion attempt.pdf, wrongful dismissal protocol. TXT. You're recording us, Ashley screeched. That's illegal. Two-party consent state. Actually, I said, check your employment contract, Ashley. Section 14, paragraph B. All executive meetings on company property are subject to internal monitoring for quality assurance. You signed away your privacy expectation the day you took this job. Andrew Wilson added that clause 20 years ago. You just used it to hang yourself. Ashley turned purple. I'm the CEO. I can override that policy. You can override future policies, Matthew corrected, slumping in his chair. You can't override a board directive that predates your employment, and you certainly can't override federal chain of custody on a device designated for regulatory compliance. Matthew looked at me with a mixture of horror and respect. You didn't just record this meeting, did you? I've recorded everything, Matthew. Every vendor approval meeting where Christopher discussed paying shell companies. Every budget session where you cut safety training. Every lunch where Ashley joked about pushing out older drivers. I pointed to the manila folder. That's the index. The complete evidence package, 47 gigabytes, was uploaded to our Swiss audit firm this morning. Chairman Stephen Campbell received the summary at 11:30 a.m. Ashley's phone started buzzing, then Matthew's, then Ashley's again. Stephen Campbell hates going to voicemail, I mentioned helpfully. Ashley grabbed her phone and hit decline. She looked at me with pure hatred. What do you want? Money? A settlement? We can negotiate. I want my company back, I said. I want the safety programs restored, the qualified vendors reinstated, and honest leadership. Matthew's laptop chimed. He read the email and closed his eyes. Ashley, that was the board's general counsel. Emergency session convened. You're suspended pending investigation. All access revoked. The door opened. Kevin Martinez appeared with 2 security guards. Ms. Parker, Kevin said professionally, please come with us. As they escorted Ashley out, still protesting about conspiracies and lawsuits, I sat in the quiet boardroom with Matthew. What happens now? He asked. Now we rebuild, I said. We restore Wilson's safety culture. We audit every vendor relationship. We protect our drivers. 3 weeks later, Ashley took a federal plea deal. The evidence was overwhelming. HD audio of safety violations, financial records of shell company payments, documented bribery attempts. She got 24 months plus 7 years probation, permanently banned from corporate leadership. Today, I'm Chief Safety and Compliance Officer with a board seat and oversight of all field operations. People respect the badge now. They know I'm watching, protecting the drivers and warehouse workers who make this company run. Mission accomplished, Wilson. Your company is safe.